If you eat horrible food and you still have this amazing life, good for you. I'm not taking away from that. What I am saying is that there's a lot more for you out there. If your life is great right now, eating the way that you're eating, avoiding exercise, avoiding sleep, at what point are you going to hit your toxic threshold? All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Jacque Show. So what are we talking about today? Now, this is going to be inspired from what I've been able to experience clinically, what I've been able to experience personally. And the topic is going to revolve around, really, it's just inflammation in the body and then how close to the divine we are. And so the divine could be God for you, it could be universal intelligence, it could be some spiritual whatever. And again, I'm not saying that to downplay one thing or another, but there was some stuff that popped up on my Instagram page, and I don't usually troll the comments very often or respond to the people who are trolling on the comments. And really it wasn't. I just feel like there's just this misunderstanding that whenever it comes to health, okay, as long as we function in our mental divine, we're able to do anything to our bodies. And I don't think that there could be anything further from the truth. God said that this is our temple. We should protect it. We should give it nourishing food. We should take care of it because this flesh suit is all we have to get us through this earthly experience. And so the way that this has kind of manifested was, over the past couple of years, I've been working with a lot of spiritual influencers. Again, be it religious fanatics in terms of like they understand the Bible through and through, or if they're manifestation beings, or if they're people who are just unhealthy and then all of a sudden they get this spiritual connection. You're like, where the heck did this come from? If you're trying to work through or program your subconscious mind, there's different things that can take place in a body. And the reason that I'm doing this is not to discredit spiritual intelligence. What I'm doing is saying, or what I am saying is that if you do things on a daily basis, okay, and your checks and balances, you're checking what you're doing on a daily basis, and you're consistently poisoning your body. Again, this is the doctor in me, this is the scientist in me. If you believe that way, right? If you believe that this spiritual intelligence allows you to be able to eat toxic food, it allows you to be able to have toxic thoughts, it allows you to be able to have no sleep at night. But as long as you keep your spiritual attunement, you're fine. I think that this is one of the most misleading things that can be out there. And again, it's not to discredit the universal intelligence, the God within us, the you name it, the power that be. It's not to discredit that. Okay. What I am saying, and I'm trying to try not to walk on eggshells because this is my podcast at the end of the day, but I'm trying to say this in a way that is really going to resonate with everyone who is listening. What I've experienced over the past couple of years is we have these people who are spiritually optimistic and they're constantly pushing, they're constantly grinding, they're living in toxic environments, breathing in mold, or you have people who got a certain jab and then all of a sudden autoimmune conditions start flaring up in their body. And so we have this manifestation of physical pain or physical dis-ease that takes place in our body. So dis-ease in the body is going to resonate at a certain frequency. And so for you to be in a dis-ease state, it could be from toxic exposure, could be mold toxicity, could be heavy metal toxicity, could be toxic thoughts, could be toxic relationships, toxic food. The more we poison our body, the more we poison our temple, the more we're going to push our body down into a lower vibrating frequency. Okay? You don't see spiritual gurus out there eating 15 pounds of McDonald's every day. And even though they might have the clearest vision, the clearest mind in terms of like what they want and what they want to obtain in life, you're not going to see that. And so you'll see this spiritual union of like, okay, if I understand that this is my vessel, this is my one chance, my one opportunity, my M&M to get to experience life at the fullest, at its highest level, then I sure as heck better give it really good food. I better give it really good water, really good oxygen, really good air, really good breath work, right? Because if we don't, we are then going to be distracted by physical ailments. I don't care how strong your mental mindset is. If you develop type 2 diabetes and you can't feel your leg and you just got these sores on your legs and you can't heal, I know that, Joe Dispenza will talk about, you can manifest that, but is it possible? Absolutely. Is it very difficult? Also, absolutely. Because if you have that happening, okay, say we've got the diabetic sores happening and we can't get function down there to heal the leg, we can focus and focus and focus. But if we're focusing on healing the leg while eating a Whopper, while eating a piece of cake, you're only giving your body McDonald's worthy or ice cream worthy building blocks to heal the tissue. And so you're pouring gasoline on a fire. And then the physical ailments will distract you from manifesting that healing, that miraculous healing. So to think like all we need is love in this world, and love is a very powerful, very, very powerful feeling. It resonates at a very high frequency. Love, enlightenment, empowerment, they're very high vibrating words. But then if we put very low vibrating energy into our body, because food is energy, food is a currency that we take into our bodies. If we do that, then we slowly start to chip away at how high our emotions are. Or if we eat gluten and all of a sudden we get brain fog, we get a headache. Well, how are you supposed to have clear divinity and clear thought and clear manifestations when you're distracted by physical brain fog? It's like you're literally walking through fog. So when we're on these journeys, it's really important to make sure that you're taking care of your body. It's like having an extension cord, right? Because we're talking about power, right? So it's like having an extension cord. And you have one extension cord that you always make sure you wrap up perfectly. And you put it inside this little box and it doesn't have any knots in it or literal knots. And it doesn't get rained on. It's just like super protected. The insulation coating is like flawless on it, not an ounce of dirt on it. And it's like good, which means every time that you go to plug in that extension cord into whatever the next device is, manifesting thought is, you're going to have a clear line currency. You know that the water is just going to be coming in from the voltage coming out from that. I'm not an electrician, so don't quote me on what the term is, but you know that when you turn on the light switch or when you turn on the switch to the appliance, that you're getting 100% of that currency, right? Almost every time. Or not almost every time, unless something else tripped a fuse and the source is cut off. But again, now it'll be like, oh, I have bad thought. Now, my intention is to run that, and I'm going to use real life examples because I have to do this at some point today. Probably just procrastinating right now doing a podcast, even though this is important. I have to go trim my hedges out in the front. The flowers are starting to bloom. They look beautiful, but my OCD brain is like, well, it's not perfectly round or oval shape or square shape. I need to get out there. I need to trim it down again. Now, if my intention, okay, I have every intent to go out there and use that hedge trimmer or hedge clipper, every intention, I know, I feel it in my soul. I know that it's going to work. But then instead of using that extension cord I just talked about, I go and I grab one that the insulation coating is falling off of it. There's some frayed wires that are just randomly, they're there and they're like, well, you might want to, avoid that area. Don't touch that. So the conductivity of that is going to be compromised. It's going to be degraded. So then am I going to get 100% of that currency going to that hedge clipper? No. Am I also going to be at risk using that hedge clipper? Yeah, probably, because if I'm dragging that open cord through, I got to wash my car at some point today too, through some water, well, what's going to happen? It's going to short it out. I'm no longer going to be able to complete my task and complete my mission, right? So it's a really weird analogy, but I don't know why I felt called to speak on it right now, but it's a real life example. So that you extrapolate that and you put that into your daily life. You wake up each morning and you intend to have an amazing day. You intend to have empowering conversations, phenomenal relationships, and everything is good. And the world is amazing. You do your affirmations, you do this, you do that. And you're like, yes, I did my 4 hours of morning prep. I'm so excited for this. And then all of a sudden you realize that you're plugging in the shitty electrical cord, okay? The crappy extension cord. And what does that mean? Well, you drink inorganic coffee and you start poisoning yourself with some pesticide and some mycotoxins. And you're like, oh, I'm still kind of tired. I need another cup of coffee. And then I need another cup of coffee. And so then you start dehydrating yourself. You dehydrate yourself. And what happens? You get a mineral imbalance. You start to stress yourself out. Coffee is going to increase your cortisol, which is then going to burn through your magnesium. These are normal physiological processes that take place in your body, but they take place under the extension cord. You don't see them. You don't see it happening, but your body is taking care of it. Your subconscious mind is running your body and is doing the best that it can with what you're giving it. So if your intention of the day is to go seize the day, carpe diem, but you're using a frayed extension cord where your innards are outwards and there's dis-ease in the extension cord, you're putting yourself at risk for manifesting that thought. You're more than likely going to be distracted. You're going to have a harder time running it. It may take you longer to manifest or longer to trim those hedges because you chose to use bad pieces, bad food, for the food. You go and you have donuts or you have Krispy Kreme, or you've got this massive glucose shuttle of crap into your body. And then you're like, then you start getting sleepy. You're like, I have energy. I am energy. I am a force to be reckoned with. I am powerful. I am a manifester. I'm a manifest generator. I am this. I am that. And you're like, you're pounding your affirmations. Halfway through your affirmations, you're like, what happened? What happened? Right? Because you chose to use the crappy cord. Now, the opposite of that is you go after the pristine extension cord. You tap it in, boom, you're dialed in. You got that. You're applying. You got your manifestations you're going to be doing for the day. You're a clear line conduit. You have no frayed wires. You are clean as a whistle. Your body's detoxification pathways peachy. Your adrenals super happy. Your gut health, yep, the best. And you feed it as such. And so then your day is going to be better. You're going to be able to manifest better. You're going to be able to live a healthier life. Okay. And I'll be honest, I haven't done as much research as maybe I could or should with Joe Dispenza. And I understand what he did. And I understand the power of the subconscious mind. Don't get me wrong on that. I am obsessed with the subconscious mind. What I am saying is if you want to have a more responsive subconscious mind, then stop throwing dis-ease into the body by putting low resonating food, low resonating thoughts, low resonating people, low resonating experiences into your life, because your body can only handle so many things at one time. And if you just keep drowning it with obstacles that you keep choosing to do, and you're like, well, I'll just outthink it. You'll get to a point where your toxic load will then make it borderline impossible for you to manifest anything, for you to live an abundant life, for you to live a healthy life. Okay? Because just think from a subluxated standpoint, right? So subluxation is when a bone section or curve of your spine shifts away from normal positioning. And what that does is it causes inflammation. Inflammation causes damage to the nerve roots, right? You only need the weight of a dime takes, I think it's like 60% of your nerve function away. Okay? Just a subluxated posture. So if you're walking around, and I did it. If you're not watching this, I went into head forward posture, shifting your head away from your shoulders. What that's going to do is cause neurological interference. It's going to cause dis-ease. Then what does that do to the nervous system? Well, if you're in dis-ease, your body is fearful. It puts you into fight or flight or sympathetic dominance. You're sympathetically dominant means you're in fight or flight, which means you're not digesting food properly. You're not having proper energy storage. You're burning through energy really quickly. You're burning through your muscle fibers. You're burning through your gut. tissue, your hormones are going to be imbalanced, your thoughts are going to be down, your hippocampus is going to shrink because stress causes that to happen. And if you continue to do that day in and day out, you're going to lead towards like an Alzheimer's, a dementia. Those types of things are going to start taking place. At the very least, you're going to get some blood sugar dysregulation, again, pushing towards your diabetes, type 1, type 2 diabetes, because your body doesn't know how to handle the blood glucose that you're taking in, right? So there are a lot of moving parts to this piece of health. And a lot of us know, like, listen, like if you choose to eat horrible food, that is on you. If you eat horrible food and you still have this amazing life, good for you. I'm not taking away from that. What I am saying is that there's a lot more for you out there. If your life is great right now, eating the way that you're eating, avoiding exercise, avoiding sleep, at what point are you going to hit your toxic threshold? And then you're like, oh my gosh, my thoughts aren't working anymore. My energy's not working. I'm sleepy. I'm fatigued. I'm snappy. My hormones are messed up. I'm dealing with infertility now. I've got this. I've got that. What happened? Years and years and years of neglect on the body, thinking that you can outthink your toxic lifestyle. You're not going to be able to. Okay? You're not. I'm sorry. You're not. You can try to manifest it as best you can, but even in those manifestations, you'll probably be calling yourself out. You'll get these downloads that hit your brain and say, hey, if you want to manifest that life, stop eating the shit. Start exercising. Stop being lazy. Stop making excuses. Stop saying that eating healthy is too difficult. It's not too difficult. In this day and age, we know what's healthy. We do. It's not always convenient, but we know what's healthy. If you're like, hey, it's too expensive, and somebody called me out for having white privilege, and I'm like, you kidding me? You have no idea about my life. You have no idea. I worked so hard to get to where we are right now. And it doesn't mean it's easy right now. It's still difficult. But when you're saying it's too expensive, you're just coming up with another excuse. Go to Aldi. You can have organic everything, organic berries. There's salads there. There's chicken, there's beef, there's grass-fed beef there. Make your diet around that. You're too overly consumed by consuming garbage. You're toxically addicted to this food. And again, I don't care how amazing your thoughts are right now. If you look at this food and you're like, this food is going to be nourishment for my body, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to be so happy with it, etc. Listen, I've tried that. I tried that when Megan and I were in Mexico and we had pizza with cheese on. And for those of you who've listened to anything that I've said, dairy is one of the things I tell people to avoid all day, every day. Why? Because it's horrible for you. And if you're not sensitive to it, if you're not allergic to it, you're intolerant to it. I mean, it basically runs the gamut. Everybody should avoid dairy, especially if you want to be a high achiever. We went into this, we were listening to some conscious mind, books and audios, and we heard a bunch of influencers talking about this. We're like, all right, cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this pizza come. And God, was it delicious. Oh my God. It was on the beach in Tulum. Oh, and Regina Lawrence, she runs like all my social media. She told us that we had to go there. I'm like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it on vacation. I've got days where I can recover afterwards. I don't have to be super sharp. I don't have to worry about patience. But what I'm going to do is pour love into this food, right? Because all you need to do is pour some love into the food and say, this is going to be nourishment for my body, for my soul, etc. Well, I did that. And I loved every single piece of that pizza. It was delicious. And they have like this homemade, they're Italian. So this homemade like dough, cheese, everything was good. It was so good. And hopefully me saying this is not going to make you want pizza for dinner tonight. That's another thing. Make sure you always know what you're having for dinner, or else you're going to end up with pizza or some other form of takeout or Uber Eats. We did this pizza. We're like, all right, let's see how we feel. Let's see how we feel afterwards. Let's see if I have my typical throat clearing. Let's see if I bloat, if I have bowel issues the next day, because cheese causes me to be constipated. Let's see if I bloat in the belly. I had abs at the time, so I would know that if I was inflamed, my abs would disappear. So we had all of these case study measurements done, right? We ate the pizza. It was delicious. We loved on it. We appreciated it. We were in a state of gratitude. We were so happy, but it still hurt a lot. It did. It had all the same effects on our bodies as it did prior to us pouring love into this food. It's true. So in this whole podcast episode, what am I saying? Is it important to have a super strong mindset? Absolutely. but it's very difficult to have a super strong mindset when you're throwing poison into your body. So for the person who was on Instagram, I'm sure you're not going to be listening to my podcast because I disagree with you on all of your premises. But we say like we just have to have love. We just have to do this. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Am I able to eat a cyanide tablet and say I don't believe this is going to hurt my body, and you throw it in there, and then your body's like, done, I'm out? Am I able to go outside and drink gasoline? Am I able to go drink antifreeze? Can I drink battery acid? Where do we draw the line? Right? Is it, well, we can get away with, as long as we love, right? We can get away with just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it won't hurt me, because it's like you can take an Advil a day, right? Or an Aleve a day, or whatever they tell you for your heart to thin your blood. But if you eat an entire bottle of that, it's going to be your last heart problem. It's going to be your last headache that you've ever had. Why? Because you're going to die. So we're choosing like the slow poisons, and because the slow poisons are less measurable than the toxic overload, right? Then we feel like we can get away with a lot more. Because if somebody goes in to eat McDonald's, and I've talked about this before, and Dr. Zano and I, we've had this mindset where it's like, okay, so you think you can get away with this, right? What if it took, if you eat that hamburger, that Whopper, that Big Mac, it's going to take 10 minutes off the end of your lifespan, right? What if you paid that price as soon as you ate it, and you would die for 10 minutes and you would come back? So you would miss 10 minutes of your life when you chose to eat that food. If we did that, then people would move away from that, because that's a pain point. Hey, whoa, 10 minutes? I can't lose 10 minutes out of my day. You're in the middle of playing with your kids and you're dead for 10 minutes, and then you have to wake up from it. And like, whoa, what happened? How long was I out? Well, you eat 2 burgers and it's 20 minutes, and then you continuously eat this stuff, and it turns into hours, it turns into days that you're taking off the end of your lifespan. But for humans, we're not trained to think about what's going to happen 10, 20, 30 years from now, where, can I get away with this right now? Can I do this? Because we're so used to, as Americans, we're so used to resonating at a dis-ease frequency that it's less noticeable. We're able to put toxic food in our bodies, and because we've been doing it for so long, we don't feel it. Right? But then as soon as you start to remove that food, you have detox symptoms, you have withdrawal symptoms, which means you are chemically addicted to those foods. And you're like, oh my gosh, I feel great. I feel so much better. I have mental clarity. I don't have brain fog. I'm sleeping. My hormones are regulating. My bowel movements are regulating. Right? So if we could just pull back and take a look and say, hey, I want to have the most amazing human experience in this world, in this life. What can I do? Mindset and love? Absolutely, 100%. But you need to support that. You can't just be frou-frou out there with thoughts and sunshines and rainbows and not follow through with your diet, with your exercise. You don't move. You're a sedentary couch potato, just eating potato chips on the couch all the time, but you have a positive mental outlook, and you're like, hey, I believe in God. I have this. I study the Bible. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. Well, okay, but you're going to die, and you're going to die short, and you're going to die in a much less fulfilled way than you would imagine, right? Because we know of people who have lived a #blessed life, and then they develop cancer, or they die of a heart attack, or they have some significant heart disease that takes place in their body. And they're like, where did that come from? Like, I stayed positive. I did this. I did that. Well, you ate shit your entire life. You had a gut infection your entire life. You had this. You had so many thorns in your side that you had slow leaks. Your blood, you were bleeding out this entire time, this entire life, that you could have achieved so much more. And I want that. For anybody who's listening, for all of my patients out there, my patients know this for sure, that I want everyone to live that abundant life they were created to have. And I feel like the way that we do that is fix the mindset, fix those limiting beliefs, fix it, because I'm learning more about this now, especially with Megan going through things, but fix the generational trauma that's being passed down from generation to generation, fix that crap, and start moving forward for yourself. And next time you put something in your body, food, drink, water, etc., ask yourself, is this going to put me in a state of health or dis-ease? Am I going to pay for this? 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, just because I want to make my tongue happy, because I love it. I don't care. I love candy. You're probably going to be a diabetic. Your insulin's going to run out. You're going to be so inflamed. You're going to be feeding infections. Your microbiome is going to be off. There's only so many things that you can do with that abundant mindset when you're poisoning it. So I keep going back into it. So what steps do we use then, right? What do we use to be positive in this negative situation, right? Fix the mindset, figure out what your strong why is, and figure out who you want to become, who you are. Figure out what makes you happy, okay? Then start doing some testing, okay? Stool test, adrenal test, foods test. Figure out what we need to do to start peeling back the layers of dis-ease that has already been taking place in your body, okay? And then you're able to start to obtain even greater things. You manifest things at a much faster and a much quicker rate. And then it becomes obsessive. It becomes addicting in a good way, which means that if you put something horrible in your body, you're no longer going to be able to manifest as quickly as you had in the past. So why would you do it? Why would you put low-grade fuel in a Lamborghini, right? You're not going to put 87, fuel or gasoline in a private jet. You're not going to do that. It's not jet fuel. You're going to ruin it. Don't ruin your body before you had the chance to truly experience what you were destined to be here for. Okay? So figure out what you want to be, who you want to be when you grow up, even if you're 35. Figure out what you want to be when you grow up, and then figure out, do I have any hidden weaknesses causing dis-ease in my body right now? Because I'm a strong believer there's no such thing as disease in the body. There's only dis-ease. We fix what's causing that dis-ease, and disease goes away, right? Cause versus the effect. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the cause? Are you focusing on the effect? And again, nothing gets better through negligence. Nothing gets better through ignoring what a current problem might be. So make sure you lean into this. Do an inventory on yourself. What do you do on a daily basis? What's your daily routine look like? Do you have a daily routine? If you don't, that's fine. But maybe start structuring out at least your food. What are you going to eat? What are you going to do? Are you going to meditate each day? Are you going to have some prayer time each day? Are you going to play with the kids? Are you going to make dinner? What brings you joy on a daily basis? You don't just want to do the mundane day in and day out, same routine until you die or until you retire. You need to want more out of life. I truly think that, because I think that's why a lot of us struggle with anxiety or depression or imposter syndrome, is that we're being called for so much more, but we don't have the physical capability of being able to do it, right? What if I feel like I'm called to change the world, but I can't pick my head up off the pillow in the morning because I'm breathing mold at night, right? What if I want to change the world, but every day I'm eating 30 pounds of McDonald's, right? You're not going to be able to. What if I wake up and I'm like, well, I want to go conquer the world, but I am also an alcoholic? Come on. Like, these are examples of people like, come on, like, really, that's not what I'm talking about. It's an extreme example of what's being said. Okay. And I need it to be extreme because it's almost laughable at this point. You want to take care of yourself. You should want to take care of yourself. You should want to be healthy. You should want more out of life. We weren't just put here to be mundane. We weren't just put here to be average. We were called to be something absolutely fantastic, something memorable, something that we can leave a legacy for, whether it's through our children, through our work, through a podcast, and who knows if podcasts are even going to be a thing in 20, 30 years. But at least we can say, when we're on our deathbed, what do we take with us? Did we take our memories with us? Did we take our positivity with us? Cool. But you could be positive in a negative situation. You could be positive with a cancer diagnosis. You could be positive with your gangrenous leg. But you also want to try to heal that. So there's ways to do that. So long story short, I guess, if you have that mindset and you know that your mindset is strong and it's pure, why not make it better? And how do you make it better? You need specific testing. You need to do this the right way. You need to put that mindset into correcting any hidden weaknesses that you have. And if you need help finding those, then reach out to me. Okay. And if you're a doc who's listening to this as well, and you're like, what is this guy talking about? What are you talking about? These tests and this, that, and the other thing. We're going to be, okay, I'm so excited for this too. We're going to be rolling out, and I know this is a couple weeks back, but we're going to be rolling out our coaching program. okay, for doctors out there. So we have a wait list that's going to be created. Find me on Instagram at doc_Jacque, or you know where to find me. It's always in the show notes. Find me on there, DM me, give me your first and last name and your email, and I'll make sure I put you on a wait list. So that way, when the program does get pushed out there, you guys will be the first ones to know. So we're looking for docs, we're looking for health coaches, people who want to take their level of care for patients to the next level. Okay. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for patients. I can only work with so many people. I want to change the entire world. That when I'm saying that, like I want to change the absolute entirety of this world. I want people to be fully healthy. I don't want people to be dependent on medications or dependent on scary diagnoses from doctors who don't know what the hell they're talking about. I want you to be empowered. So allow this podcast, allow this episode to speak into you. And if it made you uncomfortable, maybe I made you have dis-ease. You were uneasy, but that pain can then make you change. Okay, so it's a positive dis-ease, right? Pain-pleasure principle is very strong. So if I can cause enough dis-ease in your body, maybe I can get you to change. Maybe I can get you to take care of yourself, take care of you, take care of your wife, take care of your husband, take care of your kids, take care of your grandkids. And then you pass these traits on to your children, your great-grandchildren, so on and so forth, and it just keeps steamrolling each generation. So as usual, thanks for listening to the Doc Jacque Show, and leave a 5-star review if you liked it. We are going to be rolling out, for those of you who go and do a review on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, do a 5-star review right in there as well. You're going to be entered in for a chance to win a free test and a free test read. We're talking about doing the GI map, a stool test, and a free test read, which is almost $1,000 freebie, basically. So go ahead and do that. We'll have my team go and scour through, make sure we see, grab you, so that way we can get you the best of the best care possible. So thank you all. Have a blessed day.